Just as a quick intro to the topic of this webinar today, and thank you for joining it. So I suppose the title first is how IT automation can help amid the Great Resignation. I think it's probably worthwhile touching on what we see as being the Great Resignation, that or otherwise known as the Big Quit or the Great Reshuffle in certain spheres. But it's an ongoing socio-economic trend and phenomenon that's happening across the globe and affecting us. Where employees are voluntarily leaving positions that they may have been in for some time or not so long, and really this is a kind of en masse, which is all kind of stemmed from changing in working conditions during COVID, and potentially returning to work. Some of the reasons that people are citing around job stagnation, the rising cost of living, and that remote working policies. Everyone has a desire to work remotely. I think you can see from the panelists here, we're all remote. It's here to stay, and it's not changing. And we are helping organisations on that road to supporting those types of working policies, and this obviously is putting a strain on what are already massively overburdened HR departments. It's quite phenomenal the amount of kind of manual task creation that is being created through onboarding, offboarding, people who are leaving, that you're replacing, the recruitment that's required. So we have been working with a number of organisations really to kind of help overcome that issue, which is becoming a massive pain, which is obviously amplified the larger an organisation is. So just a quick overview of the event today, the agenda. Obviously we'll meet the speakers, these kind of gentlemen who are joining me today. An introduction to Spherica, who we are, our relationship with Synaptic. Also joining us, the gents from Workato will introduce, and then an overview of I suppose the use cases in automating employee lifecycle processes. Craig will be going over one of our case studies from a client where we've had massive success in automating their joiners, leavers, and movers processes. And then we'll go into that introduction to Workato, which is a strategic technology partner of ours, which underpins the great work that we do to help organizations. And then Amanath from Workato is going to give a quick demonstration on how Workato workflows can automate some of those processes, and hopefully it will give you an idea of the benefits that you could bring to your own organization, and I suppose to kind of help you to determine the value that can be unlocked from automation. We'll talk a little bit about our free onboarding automation trial, and we'll finish off with a Q&A at the end. So if we can go next slide, please. So speakers, obviously the numbers don't work here. I can see 4 people at the top. So Craig, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So hi everybody, I'm Craig, Head of Innovation at Synaptic.
Okay, myself, Gareth. So I'm a business development manager here at Spherica, and working closely with Synaptic and Workato.
Hi everyone, this is Amanath here. I'm working as a senior solution consultant at Workato, and I also have Adrian along with me. Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian Lloyd, so manage partnerships and alliances for Workato, so managing Spherica and Synaptic as a close one of our Workato partners. Nice to meet you.
Great, thank you all for joining. So a quick about Spherica. So I'm not going to go through this in a great amount of detail because, quite frankly, not all of it's relevant, and we could be here for quite some time. So we were founded in 2009. We got off to a great start, working with county councils, financial institutions, and quickly kind of established ourselves as I suppose our background was probably more a kind of IT reseller, but really with that kind of motivated to become a managed service provider. So, and that first managed service contract, a sizable one, came with Virgin Trains back in 2014, which we still work with it under a different guise, but we did realise that within these services that we're offering, we really wanted to differentiate ourselves from the I suppose the larger global kind of partners, where we wanted to be more agile, and in order to do so, we needed to be innovative. But business as usual kind of stood in the way of innovation and looking at new technologies and ways of working. So that's why Synaptic was launched within the company as a innovation division, and which allowed us to kind of focus on business as usual activities whilst freeing up dedicated people to look at how we can innovate. And it was identified that automation was going to be key to that, and it certainly has paid dividends. There's a couple more projects in there, so and again, we have continued to mature as an organisation, gaining ISO 27001, 9,000 certifications, and become on various frameworks, serving the public sector in some very large kind of managed services contracts. And yeah, we've developed a custom-built intelligent service management system, which is kind of automating many manual processes across our own managed services. Can we go to the next slide, please? There we go. So, Craig, can you just give us a quick overview of Synaptic, please?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. So Gareth touched on it already there, but Synaptic was launched in 2019, really to allow Spherica to focus on the business as usual side of things, but also allow us to innovate. So we spun off into a dedicated division within Spherica itself. Since then, we have grown quite rapidly. We have access to developers, DevOps, and just innovative thinking, really, which we then feed back into Spherica. So we work really closely together. We have a partnership with Workato. We're very close. We do a lot of our work with Workato. And yeah, so for the purposes of this webinar, we do an awful lot of HR automation as well.
Okay, so I suppose there's a graphic here on this slide which comes from a piece of research that we ran last year now, but I mean it still remains very current and topical. Within kind of employee management, it was in the actual kind of research study that we did, we saw all the time that it was kind of employee related, time consuming activities which were a massive pain point to organizations in the public and private sector. around kind of contract management, I mean, there's some highlights there. Severe impact, kind of from lack of reporting and having to do manual reports on a constant basis. That employee management tasks, authorizations, requests, and they are really time consuming and are causing massive amounts of pain to organizations. So we've kind of worked on a number of projects where we've been able to kind of save some of our customers a significant amount of time in this space, which improves that employee onboarding experience and reducing that talent churn. We see that there's a quite high dropout rate in the kind of onboarding and recruitment process at the moment. It's very high. So if we can make it slick and make it super efficient and a great experience, then that certainly helps to ensure that you're attracting the right talent. And also in security as well. So I know this might not be directly impacted, very impactful for HR professionals, but certainly IT teams and security teams will appreciate the fact that once a leaver is kind of offboarded, those processes can really be automated to pull, kind of reclaim licenses, ensure that all systems are removed in a timely fashion, and lock down systems that otherwise could be left open. We go to the next slide, please. And I suppose here is a number of different facets of the employee life cycle and processes within it that can be potentially automated. If we look from the start in terms of an acceptance letter, we are using technologies like DocuSign to, based on a trigger when someone accepts, we are able to launch an automation which launches a series of events which can include chasing up. It can include, once that DocuSign is signed, that can be the trigger to let the hiring manager know that someone will be joining their team, and then automates a number of processes around authorizations for equipment. It could be various onboarding requirements, the various checks that are required by HR departments to ensure right to work and things like that as well, and kind of automatically saving that into an employee file as well, and access permissions and security groups, so tying into things like Active Directory, automatically applications and access can be provisioned depending on the type of job role, without having to painstakingly and manually go through a process of allowing certain systems and application access. And that hardware provisioning, I mean, there's nothing worse, I imagine, than turning up for your first day and not receiving your laptop or your MacBook or whatever device it is that you've requested, and that request can be automated as well, or then notification to make that request, and the various software that kind of sits on it. So these are just typical kind of processes, certainly within mainly around kind of onboarding that we see, and can all benefit from automation. Can we move to the next slide, please? So we're going back to Craig now, who's going to just give a quick overview of what a case study around the joiners, movers and leavers processes for one of our clients.
Yeah, cool. So We've done a few of these projects now, and as Gareth said, they are ripe for automation. Selfishly, in the IT world, there is a lot of things that need to happen to create a new user, whether that be their IT accounts, their Office 365 licenses, their badge access, and it is very much a checklist. So we started this whole journey really by doing that. I said, okay, so what burden do we have on our IT staff? How can we reduce the call volumes? You ask these questions, and then we started really just to script these away using traditional IT practices for one of our customers at the time. And it was quite a success, but it was quite compartmentalized, so we only really did it for IT to begin with. But then we found Workato as a product. We started working with them, and it kind of opened up a world of opportunity when it comes to automation. And we worked with Workato, and we built a system using the workflows and the automation that kind of revolutionized how IT and HR work together for this particular customer, which just, it was great. So you can see some of the stats there. 25% time saved in a month, which is huge. Heavy admin burden, and when we say that, it's not just IT. When HR got involved, you have to create a user in whatever HR system is being used, but there's a lot that happens after that as well, and it automated all of that away. The onboarding as well was consolidated into one workflow, which is completely auditable, so you can see what's happened. You add a user to the system, and at the end of it, you can see, okay, so they've had their Office license applied, they've now got these security permissions, that sort of thing. Human error was pretty much removed because there was no touch in the middle of the flow. On the lever side of things, there was a big reduction, a reduction in cost, because obviously it was going through every user that left and made sure that the licenses were removed. So those Office licenses were taken back. Any storage licenses were taken back. It also took away any of the burden around ticket management. So when IT users close a ticket, they have to put in what they've done. We automated that, close the ticket. I mean, we're talking maybe a few minutes to do that, but a few minutes over multiple requests can add up quite significantly. Much less IT resource required because they're not doing the work anymore. They're essentially just checking to make sure the work's being done, which is a completely different way of working. And ultimately, it had a better employee experience. So as soon as HR create the user and give them a start date in the HR system, everything they needed was there for them on day one. So that's what we did for this customer, and it's been a success, and we've replicated it a few other places as well. And with that, I think we can hand over to Workato.
Thank you.
I think
So,
over to you.
Yeah. So what Workato is, just to give you guys an idea, Workato is a low-code, no-code enterprise automation tool which can cater to a variety of use cases across any enterprise or organization. So we have worked with a different set of automations across HR, sales, marketing, etc. And all this is done using a low-code, no-code approach, which I'll be showing you in some time, right? So now let's take a look at how HR automations can make work faster, better, and smarter, right? So before we go into that, let's have a look at some of the key trends and developments in HR today. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. Thank you. So what a lot of HR professionals of late are looking to spend more of their time and their team time to spending in more automative or innovative work, wherein they want to think of new ideas and how well they can automate and how well they can improve the employee experience, right? So they want to automate all of these manual repetitive tasks, which is of low value, right? So that they can spend more time on actual improvements and process, which can affect the experience of both candidate and employee, right? And the next thing you can see is create successful hybrid work environment. So post-COVID, I think most of you are aware, in most countries, it is like most of the organizations are looking for creating an hybrid environment where you're partially working from home, some of the team is working from office. So you need to establish new process, effective process, and effective communication channels in such cases, right? So Workato can also help you automate some of these hybrid work process and help you so that the employee who's at home and at office experience in a similar way, and there is no difference in what they see and what they get, right? And with a lot of data available with all of these process, HR can use these data analytics. And we have seen in some of the recent trends that HR wants to get access to more and more of these data so that they can apply some analytics and send these data to some BI tools for further dashboarding, reporting, as well as understanding some trends and insights, etc. Right? And lastly, you can even attract, retain, and develop talent in employees, right? So with automations in place, you can actually enhance both candidate and employee experience, right? So in one of the Office 5 survey, it was suggested that 69% of staff are more likely to stay for more than 3 years if they had a good onboarding experience, right? So it's all about how you keep the employee happy and make their experience better with these automations, so that they also be loyal with you and also with flexible work arrangements, no matter it's work from home or office, and also all the data is available, and also removing manual work, right? If we can go to the next slide. Okay, so with Workato, we have actually automated many of our customers have automated a lot of different automations in HR. If you take a look at this chart on the left hand side, these are some of the automations which most of our customers have done in the year 2021, right? This is the last year report. And if you see a look at the report, you can see more than close to 33% of the automations are spent in employee onboarding and offboarding, right? So you can see 20% on onboarding and 13% of offboarding, right? So basically employee onboarding automations grew to more than 200% in the last year, right? So it's not just improving the experience, it's also making sure that we are improving the security and compliance. That means uh, just like Craig and Gareth were mentioning some time back, right? So imagine your new hire gets access to all the different systems, and laptop is ready on the first day. Imagine his experience, right? And also the time saved so that he can start working from day one, right? And also making sure that if an employee leaves the organization, his access and all the uh, access to all the different applications are removed, right? So we also have seen in such customer cases where employees who have left still had access for a couple of days. So from a compliance standpoint also, which is not right? And along with that, you can see like HR analytics, payroll and benefits, employee experience, performance and development are also some of the processes which were automated in the last year, right? So why we are talking about automation, right? Why is there a need to automate the HR process, right? So if we can go to the next slide. So today HR professionals need to work with so many tools, right? You have to work with internal communications where you interact with different folks, your candidates, your internal panel who take the interview. You have emails for exchanging feedback, connecting. You have to manage interviews, schedule interviews, etc., right? And you also work with a lot of your HR information systems like Workday, Bamboo HR, Expensify, etc., for not only just onboarding, offboarding, also for benefits, payroll, any administration tasks, right? And also along with that, you also have to work with all of the uh, pre-hire tool, right? The recruiting set of tools where you source candidates from different end systems, and you want to manage and maintain their interview processes, etc., like Greenhouse, LinkedIn, Talio, etc., right? So it's not just some of these applications which you have listed here. There are many more applications every HR professional needs to work with in any organization. So not just automating onboarding, offboarding, they also need to work with tools which will improve productivity across any organization, right? And they also need to work with some of the other teams like sales, marketing, IT, etc., right? So yeah, so now we understand why automation is important, right, at HR. And we said Workato is a low code, no code, right? So why low code, no code, and how does it help these HR professionals? So let's take a look at it in the next slide. So this low code, no code has a couple of benefits, right? So earlier you also always had to depend on IT people, right? Because it is, you need skilled people to build automations. You have to write a lot of code, etc., right? With low code, no code, anybody can start building their automations with little or no programming experience, right? This will actually drive productivity because they're building in-house automations without relying on IT teams and quicker turnarounds, etc. And you can actually focus on, you can also automate some of the repetitive manual work and focus on something more productive, right? With this low-code, no-code, it will also help you to be agile and understand what are the industry relevant standards, technology, etc., right? And it will not only improve your experience as a HR, it will also improve the end user experience as well as your employees, right? So these are some of the benefits, right? And if you look at how does Workato achieve this, right? So if you go to the next slide, okay, so Workato can achieve this with some of the feature one with the main concept, what we call it as a recipe. Recipe is nothing but a low code, no code approach for integrations and automations, right? Some of the other features which will support the recipe are the connectors, right? So we have connectors to more than 1,500 plus applications, including HR, sales, marketing, and all of the different departments where you want to apply automations, right? And I also already mentioned it's a low code, no code. That means you need not have skilled developers to work on it. Even your business and non-IT users can also start building automations and have quicker turnarounds with this low code, no code approach, right? And it also provides you agility, right? Agility in the sense of speed to market, as well as secure, right? You can actually build recipes pretty quickly because it's an easy approach. As you can see on the right hand side, it's like plain English, right? I will talk about that in a moment. And it is also secure, right? You also make sure that all the data in the platform is encrypted at all times, and we also have governance, data governance, role-based access control, etc., to make sure that there is quality and security in the platform, right? And it is 100% cloud native. That means you need not worry about the deployments. Everything is managed within the platform. It is a cloud infrastructure. It's a SaaS-based offering. Once you build a recipe, all you have to do is click on start the recipe. It's automatically deployed at the backend into containers, and it is elastically scalable, highly available, etc. So you need not worry about, I need to buy these many servers, I need to buy network systems, I need to buy an IT team to manage it, etc. Right? So this will give you these four features like connectivity, low code, no code, agility, as well as lesser cost of operations because it's cloud native, right? So with Workato, we were actually working with more than 11,000 customers as of date, who are actually doing a lot of other automations across different different departments, functional domains like HR, sales, marketing, etc. Right? So if you look at the right hand side, this is what a recipe would look like. So here, this is a simple use case where they're trying to sync account from Salesforce to Xero. So you can see whenever there is a new update account in Xero, they're searching for contact and updating contact, right? That's a simple use case, but of course, depending on your flow, you can build out different automations, right? So with that, let's get into a quick demo on how we can automate the HR onboarding process using just using our own Teams platform, right? So let me share my screen. Okay, I hope you guys can see my screen now. So I think most of you use Teams on a day-to-day basis for doing communicating with your colleagues internally or even sometimes externally, right? So I think you might be wondering what are these new bots at the left-hand side, HR bot, work bot, Workato bot, something, approvals bot, etc. Right? So whenever you establish a connection between Workato and Teams, you actually get a bot, right? You can actually do the similar work bot or chat bot kind of feature with Microsoft Teams or Slack as well as Meta Workplace, right? So we currently support these three options for with messaging systems, right? So let's say I'm a HR professional and I want to onboard a candidate. So and I come to Teams, and all I have to do is just type a command, right? So I just say HR, and you can see it is giving me different options. So whatever options you're seeing, this could be completely customized and changed as per your need. And all this is coming at the backend from a recipe. There's no coding involved, right? So let's say I want to onboard a pending candidate. So I'll just get into show into the life cycle. So you can see it is giving me different options where I want to onboard using Workday, Bamboo HR, Zendesk, or SuccessFactors, right? These are just demo processes which we have built. So in ideal customer scenario, there could be just one HR information system like Workday or Bamboo HR, right? So let's say I want to onboard a candidate from Workday. So you can see it is telling me it is creating a separate channel, and it actually created a separate channel and telling me to look into this channel for further instructions, right? So I'll click on this channel, and here you can see it is giving me certain information that's come from the top. So it's telling me there is a new candidate for hire, and it's also telling me relevant people have been added to this channel. So let's come to this, right? And it's giving me the candidate details like this, the David Martinez, his position is this, which is the location, and it's fetching all this information from the sourcing platform, which is Greenhouse in this case. It could also be LinkedIn or any other application you want to connect to, right? So if we scroll down, we can see that it is also giving me the interview feedback from the people who took interview for this candidate with the relevant comments and work there, right? So let's say I wanted to have a conversation before creating an offer. All I have to do is click create conversation, because all these 4 guys who have taken interview for this candidate have already been added to this channel, right? So it will go to the sourcing tool and find out who all have taken interview for this person, and it will add them automatically to the channel, right? So if I have some confusion before creating an offer, all I have to do is create a new conversation here and come to a conclusion, right? Whether to create an offer or not a fit. In this example, everybody is happy with this candidate. As a HR, I can just go ahead and create an offer, right? I'll click on create offer. Okay, it is giving me a form, but before that, it is also giving me a compensation guide, right? What is this compensation guide? So it is logging into the HR information system and getting the information like for this particular candidate, for this particular region and its pay grade, what should be the salary and stock options range I can offer, right? So I need not even go and check that. It'll automatically fetch those information, right? And I can choose this salary, choose the stock options, the start date, let's say 1st November, and some additional comments if I want to. I click confirm. Then it's giving me the offer details, whatever I've selected. I can edit, or if I'm good, I can just send it, or I can even cancel the offer, right? I'll just do a send offer. So now it will generate the offer letter in DocuSign and send it to the candidate, right? So remember, this was one of the steps which Craig and Gareth were mentioning some time back, right? So you saw like the complete pre-hire to hire processing, where it gets feedback from the sourcing platform, it integrates to the HR information system, gets the compensation guide, creates the offer letter, and even sends it to him, to the candidate in DocuSign, right? So here we have Workato. So I have logged in as a candidate, and you can see like I have received an email, and you can see at the top it's just 0 minutes ago. So as a candidate, I can just click on review document. So it opens the document in DocuSign. I can click continue. And if I want to have a discussion, I can contact the HR. If I'm good, I can just sign the document and finish. So thanks, I don't want to log into DocuSign. Okay, he says you have finished signing. That means I've accepted my offer and have sent the complete acceptance back to HR, right? Now the HR would receive a notification shortly, and there is a process which will check at regular intervals. If there is any signed offer letter, it will send a notification to the HR on the relevant channel. So let's say I was hiring Mark, I had to go to the corresponding channel, and it will automatically send me a notification there, right? So this is the process. I'll just go to the jobs here, and I will just ask it to, it's anyways checking for jobs now. So I'll just go back here, and let's see. Received it? Not yet. Press this page. Let's check for jobs now. You can see it found one job. That means it will process it immediately. And you can see as a HR, I received a notification saying that David Martinez has signed off a letter. Do you want to begin the onboarding, right? So now I can start onboarding. That means providing him access to different applications and also furthermore, right? So I click on begin onboarding. You can see it has provisioned different applications like Workday. It has created an employee ID, Workday ID. It has also made an entry to Azure Active Directory, created an email and Outlook, also Jira and Zoom, right? Again, these applications could be modified as per the organization's standards, and we can also apply different rules. Like if the person is joining to a sales team, give him automated access to Salesforce and Marketo. Maybe if he's a developer, just give him access to GitHub or all the developer-based licenses, etc. Right? I can even choose additional applications here, so you can see it is giving me options like Salesforce, Marketo, Workato, let's say, and submit. So I can edit. If I'm good with the applications, I can just click next. So it says apps confirmed. The following apps will be provisioned to David Martinez on the first day, right? So the next thing I have to process with him for is the laptop, right? So now before he starts, we have already provided access to all of the different applications. Now we will ask, there is a request for his laptop, right? So I'll click fill up. So it's actually creating a ServiceNow request, right? So it's asking me what are the equipments I would like to provision for David. So let's say I want to give him a MacBook and maybe an Apple iPhone. It's an older version, but yeah, I'll click submit. It's asking me to edit or confirm the equipments. If I'm good, I'll just go ahead and confirm. So it's asking me to wait while it adds these items. So if it's also giving me the request ID, right? So if I click on this, you can see it's not only just telling me that it's doing. At the back end, it would have actually created a request with the relevant details, right? So uh, okay, let's click on the link again. You can see it has created a new request, David Martinez, and new hire David Martinez here. And if I scroll down, you can, I should be able to see the requested items, but I think with the new thing, I have to re-log in, right? But actually, it would have actually created the request, added the relevant items back in ServiceNow, right? So it's not just showing you that it's doing, it actually creates and interacts with these different applications and creates the relevant access and policies and also the requests, right? Lastly, I can finish the onboarding by sending him a welcome email at what time he has to log in, come in on that day, who is the manager, arrival date was 1st November, and some comments if I want to add, right? And click on submit. It has created an email based on the standard format or a template which you can use in your organization. You can even edit the email if you want to. If you're good, you can just do a send email. So welcome email has been sent. If I just go back to the candidate and check his inbox, you can see he has received a welcome email. This is the time he has to come in 9 a.m. Who is the manager, and see you on 1st November, right? So and lastly, I can even close channel where it will delete this channel and I can process my next candidate, right? So you saw how we were able to automate the end-to-end HR onboarding, including pre-hire to hire, and also creating the relevant access to his applications, and also for his laptop and other hardware IT equipment he needs for his work, right? So on the first day before David joins, he has access to all the applications, his laptop is ready, and also the other equipment is ready, right? So imagine his experience, right? This will elevate his experience, as well as a HR, I need not log into multiple systems or reach out to IT for different access provisions, right? So everything is done, and I'm doing that from a tool which I use on a day-to-day basis like Teams or Slack, right? And all this is pretty seamless, and it will also improve my experience, right? So this would automate the onboarding and offboarding process similar way, and also some of the other process which we can think of, we can automate all of those, at the same time improving experience and also driving um, uh, but driving the talent retain, etc., which I was talking about earlier, right? So people who have a good onboarding experience are likely to stay at an organization for more than 3 years, is what one of the surveys said, right? So this was some of the one example. I'll quickly show you how a recipe would look like. So here is an example I was showing you. So this will send a notification whenever the offer letter is signed by the candidate, right? So you can see it is looking for a new document event in DocuSign. That means whenever we sign, the candidate signs, it will receive an event. And it will search for entries in a lookup table just to make sure that to get the right channel for that user. It will list the document, and we also download the document and also upload the file, right? So we also want to capture the document which the user signs, and we want to save it, upload it to one of our repository, right? In this example, it's Box, but you can also upload it to SharePoint, Confluence, or whatever your document repository is, right? It's automatically doing that. And finally, sending a message to HR saying that the candidate has signed the contract and you can proceed with onboarding. I think we saw that sometime back. So when it will show the button for begin onboarding, when the user clicks begin onboarding, there's another recipe which will trigger and will start provisioning apps in Active Directory, Outlook, etc. Right? And if you look at this recipe, right, it's actually plain English. Like if you go through this recipe, also you can understand what is happening. It's listing documents. It's based on that, it's matching which document matches to that envelope, and it's downloading and finally uploading it. Right. So this is a simple example, and finally, most of the steps here is also like plain mapping. There's not much coding involved. Right? So this was just an example. Similar way, we can do a lot more other automations. With that, that's all I had from my side. Back to Craig and Gareth.
Great, thank you for that, Amanath. That's a fantastic demonstration. So I think it's a nice insight into the world of kind of headless operations as well. I think we're able to see there that Amanath working from a single application and paying rather than using a communication tool rather than multiple tabs open. For all of those applications that were involved in that life cycle process there. So just to give you a little bit more information now about the free trial that we're running, as it comes up on the screen in a graphic there. So included within the trial is we can build out that flow for the acceptance letter, DocuSign with a contract, building out the various notifications and saving of the document. So that's something that we at Spherica and the team in Synaptic can support. We can help you to identify the process, the pains within that process, and build out what you can use as a proof of value and to unlocking the potential of automation within your organization, and potentially using it as a business case to look further into other areas of the HR department, the processes within it, to really determine whether I'm sure where and when those efficiencies and better experiences can be leveraged. So there will be a link sent out to participants post event, and if you're interested, please do get in touch, and we'll be happy to kind of support you through that. I think the last thing to do is see if anyone has any questions that come through the chat. I've not seen any yet. Sophie, can you launch or raise any questions? No, it appears there are no questions. So just over to yourself, Adrian. Kind of any closing remarks or kind of?
No, I think the only thing I need to say really is, I mean, the beauty of a low-code, no-code platform, enables the business within an organization to take control of their automations. I think historically, before in the past, with other solutions that are in the market, they've been quite code heavy, or integrations required to be developed into other systems. And with us, with our over 2,000 integrations that we've created ourselves already out of the box and through our community, enables organizations to be able to quickly get up and running of connecting to applications. And because it's low code, no code, they're able to simply create those automations, as you've seen with Amanas in the recipe builder, just through drop down menus and text fields. Somebody within HR who's responsible for those systems can easily create what they need to do those automations. So that's a real fundamental vision of our business moving forward, is to make it easy for the business and to do these types of automations, which historically IT has been responsible for. So this releases that power from IT to allow businesses to do that. So I think it was well explained. I think the recipe builder Amanath really shows the power of what you can do. So that's all I wanted to say, Gareth.
No, thank you, and thank you, Amanath and Craig for joining, and the participants for joining. Again, get in touch if you're interested in learning more about Workato, Synaptic, and Spherica, and if you want to kind of take us up on the trial or proof of value, then please do get in touch. with that, thank you and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.